Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 5th episode of the IFSA Officials Roundtable Series. As you might know, we are getting closer to the new election process for our IFSA officials for the next term, and that's why it's very important for the IFSA community to understand how they could contribute to the association as officials. Therefore, we have started this series this year. And the IFSA Officials Roundtable Series provides a space where members can learn directly from the officials and get inspiration to apply for the next term. And in this episode, we are with the Capacity Development Commission, and they will share their experiences and many more insight about how it's working, how does it work with the Capacity Development Commission. And our dear head of CDC, Jasmine, will give us introduction about the team. And now I will share my screen for the presentation. So at first we have a couple of questions for you. Therefore, if you could join on Slido from this link and this code, you could answer and join to the questions. So the first question is, are you planning to apply for a position? And so far we have 2 people and 3 people in the questionnaire, and we can see that majority is not sure, but we hope that you will change your mind after this event and get some answers for your questions if you have any. Now we have 4 people in. Okay, now it's changing a bit. Great. Yes, now we can see that majority is planning to run, which is great. And we can move on to the next question. And this question is, what are your expectations from this event? We really hope that you will get some beneficial information and consider running for a position next term. Yeah, we have 1 comment already: to learn more about how CDC works as a big commission. That's true. CDC is one of the biggest commissions in IFSA, and it has very much importance on internal aspects and of capacity building for our members. So yeah, there are a lot to learn about the commission. Learn more about CDC, yes. Know more on tasks and duties associated with CDC, meet CDC officials, yes. All of them are really great, and they are also looking forward to meet you. CDC 101, yes. Give a bit of insight into what we've been doing in the subcommission. Yeah, that's great. We are really looking forward to hear more about it. One more participant is typing. Know more about tasks involved in CDC. Yes, it's in this presentation, you will learn a lot about this. And in the end, we will have a Q&A round, which you can even ask more questions. So it seems like that's all. Now we can move on to the presentation. Here's a brief overview. First, we will have the general introduction about the commission. Later on, we will have our officials' presentations about how the subcommissions work. And lastly, we will have a Q&A round and then closing remarks. So here we have the team of the Capacity Development Commission. As I mentioned in the beginning, it's quite a big team and full of amazing people. So today's presentation includes all of the subcommissions from the Capacity Development Commission. At first, we will start with the Carbon and Sustainability Subcommission with Philip. Following that, we have a presentation about the Cultural Competencies Subcommission, and then Forestry Education and Training Subcommission, Gender Subcommission, and IFSA IFRO Task Force on Forestry Education Coordinator and Deputy Coordinator as well. And last two is the Language Subcommission and Mentorship Subcommission. So without further ado, I'm giving the floor to our heads of commission. Jasmine, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I want to introduce my amazing team, that it's CDC. And for those who don't know, the CDC in general seeks opportunities for the IFSA members to develop soft skills and complement our education by creating spaces to learn topics that in general are left behind or reviewed quickly. And some activities like training sessions for developing soft skills. So that's what we do here. And you can know more about these specific projects with one of the heads of subcommission and or joint task force. So first of all, I want to introduce you to Philip Home, the head of Carbon and Sustainability Subcommission. So Philip, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you for the invitation and that I can present some of the projects and tasks I did in the last 2 periods. I had this position. You could continue. Yeah. So my projects for this term were the carbon report. The carbon report is important that we know the emissions of carbon and within IFSA, because in the future we had the plan and we had discussions about being carbon neutral, and for that aim we need to know how many or how much carbon we are emitting over the year. Then we plan to make social media posts about how to live more sustainable. So yeah, it could be, for example, the reuse of cups, and especially we also made some, I think that's also in the last term, I did some ideas how we could make our physical events more sustainable. And I think at that CERM in Italy, there were already many points that are very sustainable. So then we planned to make tree planting, but there were some problems within this year. So next year we tried to contact our Rs already this term to start then directly in the next year with the plannings for every LC. So the plan is that every LC organizes an area where we could plant trees and make that as a social media project. And then already a long-term project is the change of IFSA's bank account. It should be more sustainable, but there are also other points we need to be or what are important for the change of the IFSA bank account. So maybe it's hard to take the bank which is the most sustainable, but it should be also feasible for the treasurer to manage the bank account. So the task to make these projects which will be continued in the next term is the data assessment of our carbon emissions. There we have our online and our physical events. And I and also the commissioners and Johannes, who had the position before me, made mind mapping how IFSA could act more sustainable. Then to the next slide. There, I present shortly the required skills I needed for the task I did. So for the carbon report, it's necessary to know how to use Google Sheets or Excel to do data analysis and data processing. And also a big part is to be very, or to have a high endurance to get the data that are needed to calculate our carbon footprint. Then for the other part, the sustainable part of the commission is know basic things about sustainable lifestyle. And for new projects, then you have to be creative. And the estimated workload I would suggest are 2 to 4 hours per week. That's my part.
Thank you, Philip, for your great explanation about your subcommission. I hope people is interested to apply for this one. It's really, really important in IFSA. So now we have the second subcommission, that it's Forestry Education and Training. This is held by Secar Janita, but she is not available for coming today, so I'll be presenting her part. So next one, please. Okay, so in general, the main task of the subcommission is to improve the non-formal forestry education worldwide, and this by raising awareness about the importance of the forestry education in the world and making sure that this is represented in all the IFSA activities. So for this, to achieve this goal, is to provide ideas for educational activities like the different workshops we are having in the general CDC, or for example, if you hear about this project, peer learning, this was an idea from this subcommission, and it's something important because it's share this education in another spaces that in general it's not easy to find in a regular education. And also it's to ensure that these educational components are included in all the IFSA events like regional meetings, the IFSAs, also in the delegations that we are part of. So next one. So part of the additional tasks is work together with the joint task force that you're going to hear more about this. I think it's the next one. But for this, the head of the Forestry Education Subcommission also participate in meetings with the UFRO and support the projects that they are working on. And also it's create and promote learning content for the True Learning platform. If you are if you know about this, it's a platform in the IFSA web where we can find content about different forestry topics or also soft skills. So it's really nice. If you want to see something about this, you can check the web page. And for this, currently during this term, we don't have a True Learning subcommission. So we have a commissioner who's working on this, but it's under the Forestry Education Subcommission. And in the past, we have this subcommission. So it's really sure that we are also having this subcommission again for the next term. So if you're also interested or participate on this one, yeah, I recommend it. And in general, their task is support all the educational activities of IFSA. Next one. So for this, the required skills, it's first of all, being interested in forestry topics, as the name of the subcommission stated. Also being innovative and creative, since you have to develop new opportunities or new projects for the IFSA members, and something that people can be interested on, learn more about. Of course, being well organized, since you will be working with a lot of information and meetings and everything. And of course, good communication and writing skills. So the estimated workload, this is 3 or 5 hours per week, but this depends on the projects that we are having during the time. So this can change. So this is for the forestry education. I'm also sharing with you the email from Sekar. So if you have some questions in particular, she can reply to you. So next one. Okay, and now we have a new subcommission, but we really believe that this is really important to have in IFSA. So now I'm giving the floor to Barbara for the gender subcommission.
Thank you, Jasmine. As you have already said, it is a very new subcommission. Last year, there was a big conference on women in forestry, women in the forestry sector. IFSA was one of the organizing partners, and the engagement that we've had there, both running up to the conference, during the conference, after the conference, has shown that gender is an issue that affects us all, but is currently not sufficiently covered in university curricula. This is why we have established this gender subcommission to continue the work and to raise awareness on gender equality in forestry, to provide learning opportunities that maybe are not there at university for IFSA members and also forestry students at large. The tasks of this subcommission are most of all to create learning opportunities for IFSA members. As we've said before, this topic is not taught at university. This is why after studying forestry, many of us are ill-equipped to unravel the social dimensions of forestry. And this is our contribution to change that. A second main task is implementing actions that raise awareness on including gender aspects in forest education, both within and outside of IFSA. We're currently working on an open letter on gender and forest education. You might have seen something on social media. It's about to be published very, very soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Then advocate for gender equality, and also to establish contact with stakeholders who are already active in the field, also in the field of gender equality in forestry. Additional tasks are to organize capacity building activities. These could be webinars. I included a picture or an announcement of a webinar that we had in 2021 before the commission was established, but it was on gender and forestry, about the Me Too movement in Sweden, in the Swedish forestry sector, and a network that was created afterwards. Other capacity building activities could be workshops at IFSA events, both for IFSA officials, but also for IFSA members, at the IFSS, at regional meetings, and so on. Another task that we identified was looking for relevant literature, material, or opportunities that are available to IFSA members and to share them with IFSA members. One of the things we've been doing in the subcommission, I had a commissioner to help me with this, Teresa. I included a screenshot there. We regularly, or more or less regularly, shared papers that were published on that topic with IFSA members on the IFSA Discord server. And then lastly, to contribute where needed within IFSA. This can be a very broad field, from checking whether the language that is used is gender aware, to commenting on a document that is being created, to speaking somewhere if needed. Just to represent this topic in IFSA. The required skills. First of all, a knowledge of, and of course an interest in gender issues in forestry. Then the ability to work independently. This is, as we said before, a very new subcommission, meaning the tasks might not be as predetermined or as defined as in other commissions that have existed longer. But this also comes with a lot of space for creativity and space for creating or for turning this position into what you want it to be. Then the ability to produce learning materials that should contribute to this mission of including gender equality in forestry. Then the ability to develop a communication strategy together with the IFSA Communication Commission. This is, I think, very important. It is not an insular or isolated subcommission that has to work completely by itself. But it's important in order to achieve the tasks of this commission, raising awareness within and outside of IFSA, to collaborate with the Communication Commission. So some basic understanding of communication, and then also the willingness to cooperate and to work on joint projects, I would say. And regarding the estimated workload, this of course very much depends on the projects that you're involved in. This range can be changed accordingly, of course, but I would say over the year, an average of 3 to 5 working hours per week should be fine, with, of course, peak times. Thank you for listening to this presentation. It's an amazing subcommission. I'm happy I've had this position this year, and we're excited to see where we go from here.
Thank you, Barbara. And it's a really, really important subcommission, and we hope we can strengthen this one for the future years. So thanks for this amazing presentation. So now we have, it's not a subcommission, it's a joint task force, but it's in CDC and it's really important. And it's this IFSA IUFRO task force on forestry education. And for this, we have 3 different positions, that it's the coordinator and the joint coordinators. So for this now we have to Annie, and I think it's also Kilasho here. So guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you everyone for this opportunity to present on this very important joint IFSA IUFRO task force on forestry education. Next slide, please. So let me introduce my team. My name is Annie. I'm the present coordinator. And with me, we have Khadijatu. Unfortunately, she is not available with us today. And Kilasho. So they both are the joint coordinators. Next slide, please. So the main task of the joint task force is to liaison between both the organizations, which are IUFRO and IFSA. This is a special commission where we officials, we help in promoting and enhancing forestry education in association with IUFRO. So we work with scientists from IUFRO. We in our team, we also have Sandra. She is from Mexico, currently working as a professor in USA. We also have Patrick, who is also from USA, and Rene, he is from Canada, and lastly Pipette, she is from Thailand. All of them are scientists and professors working with IUFRO, as well as their individual universities. So we have this unique opportunity to work in association with such experienced people, and also to learn a lot from them, from their experience with the joint task force. So the main task we have is, as I said earlier, to promote and enhance forestry education. This partnership also increases training opportunities as needed for IFSA members. This position is for 2 years. And we also collaborate with the head of Forest Education Commission, Shaker, on various projects. We had recently collaborated for the peer learning project that she was pitching. Next slide, please. So this slide shows a brief on the activities or events which we had done so far. From the start of our term, we had done a session titled Addressing the Challenges and the Course of Learning for IFSA World Day. This was done in the background of COVID pandemic that we faced last 2 years. This was to, the aim of this session was to address the challenges faced by the students during the pandemic time. The next activity we did was the distribution and promotion of young African forestry professionals book in Africa, and help with the promotional event associated with the book. So what this book mainly aim is to motivate the forestry professionals students from Africa to take up this very special career in forestry, to showcase people who have succeeded in forestry, and just to basically promote forestry education in Africa. And we had done 6 LC promotional events so far. And lastly, we had also coordinated 2 workshops during the World Forestry Congress in South Korea. One was related to forestry entrepreneurship, and other was related to project proposal and scholarship proposals, etc. So these are the activities we had done this term. Next slide, please. So the additional tasks associated with this commission include to provide support and assistance to IFSA, activities such as workshops and webinars, and to promote networking opportunities and to assist in activities of capacity development commission. So we also had done several IFSA associated events as well. One being the youth encounter with CBNE, and other one being Green Jobs webinar. So next slide, please. So the skills which are required for this position include being interested in forestry education and its promotion. So what that really means is the education we get around the world is uneven. Some universities, they might provide more information or more resources compared to other universities, and we as a commission try to bring about an equality, if I'm using the correct term, so that everybody has an equal opportunity to learn forestry, and nobody is left behind in the course of learning. And being interested in is one of the most important skills required for this position. The next one is obviously to communicate effectively, because you're not only communicating with students or with your fellow colleagues in IFSA, but you're also communicating with scientists and people from IFRO also. So your communication needs to be pretty effective. And the next is to the ability to work in a team and support each other. So this is one of the most how do you say it's a teamwork. Nobody is individually working on anything. It's a teamwork. We support each other, and the ability to work in a team is important as other skills. And lastly, you need to have excellent writing skills, because you will be writing proposals, concept notes, also event reports, etc. So you will also need to have an excellent writing skills. And lastly, the estimated workload is on average, it's 3 to 5 hours, depending on the projects that you're working. It might go up to 7 to 8 hours when you're so close to an event. And also like when you're so close to international events such as World Forestry Congress or something like that. So you will need to work more on those particular times. So this is about our subcommission. I will also hand over to Kilasho to add in a word or two about our subcommission. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. I think Kilash is having some internet issues because he's disconnecting. So I don't know if you want to add something else. If not, we can move to the next one.
Oh, okay. We can move to the next one. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Annie, for this great presentation. The GTF, it's really important for IFSA, and you're doing an amazing work here. So now continue with another subcommission. It's the language. So for this now we have to Lawrence. So Lau, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. So I hope I'm audible since I'm using a different mic right now. So before I introduce to you the subcommission, I'd also like to introduce to you my subcommissioner. So can we go to the next slide, please? All right. So I am one of the subcommissions with the most number of commissioners. So I'll explain to you later on why I have the most number of subcommissioners. But currently, during this term, I have three. So that's Yungki, Winning, and David, or Rodrigo, as we call him. Okay, so can we move on to the next slide? All right, so for the main task of the language subcommission head, as the largest global students association for forestry and environmental studies, diversity is one of our main strengths when it comes to providing a platform to discuss multiple ideas from varying backgrounds and perspectives. We acknowledge the challenges that are associated with diversity when it comes to effective communication between members. In contrary, it has also provided us with the opportunity to learn another language from our native speakers here in IFSA. So as part of that, we want to, as head of the language subcommission, you should have um, be able to promote deeper understanding of culture through the study of language. Since again, as we know, a language is part of one's culture. And in relation to that, you should be able to find mentors and mentees for the language school, follow the language school progress, since this will be one of the main activities of the subcommission, and of course help producing learning materials to help the language school. And for the next bullet, to recruit native speakers or proficient speakers to help the language school. The language school, the to proficient speakers in languages different than English to help with the translation. So as you may know, IFSA is very diverse when it comes to nationalities, when it comes to its members. So we sometimes need to translate some of the materials that we have, for example, for IFSS or for APRM to their local languages. And as the language subcommission, we are tasked to help with these kinds of translations. And sometimes we are also tapped to give translators. And lastly, for the last bullet, leading the creation of short video clips in different languages to promote or to for promotions and campaigns that IFSA will engage in. So again, aside from the activities that IFSA have, we also promote different activities like what Annie said earlier. We are part of the joint task force with IUFRO. So some of the publication materials that they produce are translated to local languages so that we can invite more of our members to join these kinds of events as part of IFSA's representation in the world of forestry. All right. So can we move on to the next slide? All right. So these are some of the projects that we've had this term. So we had the Spanish school and the call for translators. And currently we are having the Korean English language school. So the Spanish school was held, I think, it started March, I think, if I remember correctly. And then we had the call for translators during the first half of the term. So this was around November, so that we could have a database of translators that we could send out during events of IFSA or whenever there are joint events that IFSA needs translators for. So that is why I have a lot of commissioners, since we decided this term that we should make the translators a part of the subcommission, since they will be helping us with the translations and of course with becoming a translator for this kind of event. And we have the Korean English School, which is a multi language school. So the participants here would be teaching Korean and English. So technically, we are trying to be proficient in two languages. So that's Korean and English. All right. So can we move on to the next slide, please? All right. So these are just snippets of the language school. So currently, this is just the Spanish school, since we are not yet able to meet with the participants of the Korean English language school. But hopefully, we can add more pictures to this by the end of the school. So here are some of our participants from the Spanish schools, and of course, our lovely mentors from the school as well. All right. So we can move on to the next slide. All right. So for the additional tasks, so again, you need to coordinate with different LCs to accommodate translator and translations requests. So some LCs do not know that they can request the language subcommission to help with the translation. With I've noticed this when we had the internal department meeting in Indonesia, when I talked with some of our Indonesian colleagues. So basically what they're telling is some of their LC members do not know how to participate in IFSA events because they are not very proficient in English, and the official language used in IFSA is English, since it accommodates more. But again, to accommodate much more than what English can accommodate, the language subcommission bridges this gap to help them join this kind of event. So again, we accommodate translator and translation requests, and work with the organizing committee for translation requests and for fact checking the accuracy of the translation. So there were instances when I was working with the organizing committee that they were trying to check if the translation was accurate, since some of them might have grammatical errors, or if the idea was there during the translation. So we are helping this kinds of we are addressing these kinds of issues with the language subcommission. All right. Next slide, please. Okay, so for the required skills, you should be fond of learning new languages. So as you I don't know if you know this, but the first event that I attended in IFSA is actually the Korean English school during Steve's term. And that was one of my gateways to becoming the language subcommissioner, since I really enjoyed learning a different language with another IFSA member. So it was a fun way to bridge gaps between different LCs, of course. Good work ethics, since you will be working with different people from different regions. As I've said, my commissioners are very diverse. So there's one from Korea, one from Indonesia, and one from Latin America. So it's very good if you have a good work ethic, since you will be encountering different cultures in the same way, since uh, the complexity of a language is very different from every region. So you need to be working with that. And of course, the next one would be good organization skills. So this is because you will be managing the language schools. So sometimes this could be simultaneously happening, but it depends on how many language schools you want to have during your term, of course. And of course, accommodating translation requests. And lastly, good communication and writing skills. So you should be proficient in English, and as I've said, this is the official language used in IFSA. And of course, you need to create language school material. So to make it easier for the mentors and mentees, we have a specific language, and then we have the English translation as well, so that they can see how or what the phrases or sentences mean. So it helps them learn the language better. And of course, again, as I've said earlier, for fact checking of translation requests. The estimated workload per week is 3 to 5 hours. So it's not very heavy since you would just be communicating with different people and of course meeting with them, crafting ideas on how you can promote language better here in IFSA. So that's it for my part. I am looking forward for your questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. I think one of the funniest activities in IFSA is the language schools. So it's really nice to see the work that it's doing here. So thank you. And now we move to the next subcommission, that it's mentorship. So Gif, if you're there, the floor is yours.
Hello. I'm sorry, I'll not be able to enable my camera right now due to some personal reasons. Can everyone hear me?
The voice is a bit muffled, but we can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Please, next slide. Okay, so the mentorship subcommission is actually a very interesting but challenging subcommission, but it's what it do. So here, what we do is to create advanced mentorship relationship both within the IFSA members and with the partners, activities of seminar or publication. Here, actually, what we're working with presently is the Forest Entrepreneurship Mentoring Program, where we get for outstanding forest entrepreneurs from outside to help mentor IFSA members. Because just like Barbara said, most people don't really have an idea of what to do after the forestry degree they have. So what the mentors are going to do, they'll mentor them, guide them, motivate them, and arouse their interest into going further in exploring opportunities in forestry, business opportunities actually. So here we created this program, but got delayed actually due to lack of mentors. We had to reach out to a lot of people, but not much mentors, but it's still ongoing. So, and also we actually planned a seminar where we want to involve, this will not be from really partners organizations, just within the IFSA members, where we kind of, it will be like a peer mentoring program where we mentor ourselves, uh, those that actually achieve something, those that are younger will have to receive mentorship from those that have achieved something to be able to motivate them to continue in forestry and not just give up. So we called for mentors and we got mentors, people that applied from outside, and we already have them. We finished the mentors application review. That was 2 days back, and the summary is already out. Please, next slide. Next slide, please. Hello.
Yes, I think Elif is having some internet problems, but I can share now.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. So one, we have to find mentors at conferences from partner organizations. We reached out to our partners in FAO, IFO, and so many others. So, and we have to create future mentoring guidelines for the future mentoring program so they can have to follow it because it's a new development and to require a lot of guidance from the previous one. So the IFSA storytelling mentoring was actually one thing I was looking forward to, but it was not really, we could not do it this particular term. It's just like I said, it would be like a peer-to-peer mentoring where everyone within the organization, we actually pick some people actually that will share their skills, the challenges to just create awareness to those that are coming in to help them to be able to scale through successfully in their pursuits in forestry. Please, next slide. Okay, so required skill, it's very, very, very important to have a good organization and management skill, because you have to really organize a lot of documents. You have to create lots of forms, evaluation forms, application forms for both the mentors, the mentees, and then you have to have good writing and communication skills. I had to reach out to a lot of people within IFSA and with the partners organization. So you have to have good writing, you have to be proficient in the English language, and to communicate effectively to be able to get the results you want, and also to be able to create and maintain good social networking. It's that one is very important, because you meet with people outside and you need to call in mentors. So you have to create good social networking with them and be able to communicate effectively. The estimated workload, we have 3 to 5 hours, depending on the project you have at hand, actually. So that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Gift. You will see more about this subcommission in the coming days. So thank you for your presentation. And now the last subcommission that we have in CDC is the one for cultural competencies. And the current hold of this position, it's Kyle, but he's having some problems now, so he's not joining us, but he prepared some good slides for you. So for this, well, as you know, IFSA is an organization that works internationally. So this means we all work with people from different backgrounds and different ideologies, or everything different than us. So it's really important to have these cultural sensitivities because you have to learn how to work with people with different ideas. So this is, I think it's one of the most important subcommissions that we have in general in IFSA, because all the activities we do, all in partners or international processes or in the communication commission, we have activities that we have to be careful on. So this subcommission is really important for this. So now the main task that the head of this subcommission has is work with IFSA local committees to develop the skills needed to improve knowledge of different cultural practices and worldviews. As I said, you have to work with all the IFSA community. Also identify ways to further develop positive attitudes towards cultural difference and identify sensitivities, and aid IFSA members in developing skills for communication and interaction across cultures. And for this, one of the most popular projects that we have is the Cultural Days. I hope you join at least at one of these, because it's really interesting to see how the same things are different according to the country we are. So for example, this term we have Cultural Day from Costa Rica in Latin America, Korea in Asia Pacific, and Poland in Europe. So it's really nice to see the different backgrounds that we have, the different language, how is the forestry in each of these countries, and the food, of course, the language, as Lau mentioned before in the other subcommission. So I hope you can join for the next Cultural Day in case you never join one of these, because it's really nice to hear the experience, well, not experience, but the information from these countries. And here is an example from the Cultural Day of Poland. And here we knew more about the national parks that they had. And also additional task for this subcommission is work with the heads of delegations to identify cultural sensitivities for upcoming events and help delegates in appropriately managing them through workshops. So for example, when we have the World Forestry Congress in Korea, I think two months ago, we have also a Cultural Day from Korea, and also they prepare some presentation about the Congress and like different things you have to have in mind, because it's a different culture that we are visiting. Also work with the OC to ensure that there is a provide support and suggestions regarding possible cultural sensitivities at international events. So for example, now for the IFSS in Chile, we're also working in this workshop so people can understand and work better with people from different cultures. And also the required skills for this is have a great interest in global culture and cultural diversity and inclusivity. And this is really important because this is the basis of this subcommission. Also good work ethics. And this is also something that Lau mentioned it before because you are working with people from different regions. So you have to learn how to work with people who have different ideas than you. Of course, have cultural sensitivity and have strategy and organization skills because you have to work in creation of events and activities to showcase diverse culture of IFSA members, to develop skills for intercultural communication and encourage interactions across various cultures. Also, you have decent communication skills and writing abilities, good English proficiency or higher oral and writing because you also have to write some reports. If you miss the last cultural days, you also can know more about this in the reports that Kyle submit in the IFSA web. So you can check there more about the countries that we have. And also the estimated workload per week, it's 3 or 4 hours, but this is going to depend according to the activities that you're having. And this is more about meetings that you have with the people from the country that is going to present, to organize the information and everything and set the dates for the event and everything, to prepare all the activities, and of course the report and submit this on the web. So this is for the cultural competencies subcommission. Here we have some pictures of Kyle with people from the different countries. We have Korea, Poland, and Morocco, I think. Yeah. So if you have questions specifics about this, I hope I can answer for Cal, but in case not, I'm also sharing with you his email so you can talk directly with him. So now, Elif.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Jess. And now, before we conclude our meeting, we have the Q&A round. So if you have any questions to any of our subcommissions, you can either write in the chat or raise a hand to ask yourself. So yeah, we are waiting for your questions. How can we apply for a position? That's a good question. In the IFSS, we will have the elections for the IFSA board, the heads of commissions, but for the heads of subcommissions, the election process works after the IFSS, which there will be open call on the website, and you can follow these open calls on either on social media or on the website and send in your application. And usually the procedure to apply for a position is that you need to provide a letter of motivation along with a 2-minute video for your application. And also, of course, a verification of your membership with IFSA. With these things, you can apply for any position you would like. You would have a chance to apply 2 positions in one go. So you can try your chance if you are even not elected for a position. So yeah. And yeah, Jasmine?
Yes, I would like to ask something in general for all the officials of CDC. And this is how being an IFSA official has influenced your life. So who wants to answer? Maybe Lau or Annie.
It's okay. Love can go first.
Okay, so how did it change my life? Technically, it gave a lot of opportunities for me to meet new people and to learn different aspects of forestry much deeper outside the four corners of our classrooms, since we are in an online setup. So it helped me get to know deeper. Aside from the scientific side of forestry, IFSA paved the way to help me grow deeper into how the social side of forestry works. So that, of course, to be more specific in CDC, so we have the cultural competencies, the language of commission, the gender, which is a very interesting subcommission for me, since we've had a lot of interesting discussions about it. So something like that, something outside the scientific um, world of forestry helped me grow more when being part of school. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lau. Now, Annie, you can go.
So being in this position has been, how do you say, rewarding? Because first you get to meet a lot of high energetic and enthusiastic people like Jasmine, Lau, Elif, and everybody else. And it has been fun during the internal department meeting in Indonesia. That has been pretty amazing because, for one, that has been my first international travel, and that too alone. And I got to meet a lot of people and experience a different culture. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that the JTF works with IFO, and the exposure you get from the organization from IFO is immense. Like you are working with already established scientists, so you are working under the guidance of people, and you are gaining more experience in this position. Like when we were working for the two workshops during the World Forestry Congress, even though I couldn't participate in it, we still got to interact with all the stakeholders in it. For example, I got to meet Sheila Ward from ISTF in person. I mean, in online, even though, but still I got to meet her and all the stakeholders also. And the third thing is, it's, as I said earlier, it's rewarding. One of the events I did, which was the CBME, they sent a souvenir to me, which had a lot of honey and honeybee products, which was amazing because if I say so myself, I did only very little, and to be rewarding even for a very little work was motivating, and it was kind of pushing you to do more work or to achieve more from this task force. And I believe I have done it, and I'm still trying to do it also. And lastly, you get to meet a lot of wonderful people. Like when we were doing the book promotion events, I got to meet a lot of young people from Africa. And even I got to experience the culture and how they are learning forestry in Africa, and how we can help them to achieve more, how we can be of inspiration. So that also has been rewarding. I believe this position in a lot of ways has been developing in my character, and also as been I can't find right words right now. It has been a wonderful experience so far. So I hope, even though you can't apply this year, for the next year, whoever is applying, you get to have the same experience as we are having right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie. I think we all share a lot of points with you that you mentioned it. And now maybe Barbara or Philip.
I don't even know where to begin in answering this question. There are so many things I learned, skills that I was able to develop, people that I met. It's too complex to answer it in like a couple of sentences, but now it sounds super short. In any case, it's been a very rewarding experience.
Thank you, Barbara. There's not enough words to to explain everything. Now, Philip or Gift.
I think everything has been said already, but yeah, for me also meeting people and the opportunity now to get also in physical contact with other officials in the interim, for example, or at our CDC meeting in Indonesia. I couldn't be there because I was in Canada at that time. So I already had been in not at home, abroad. But yeah, if you're at home, I think that's a great opportunity also to see the world and to get in contact with people from all around the world.
Thank you, Philip. We missed the opportunity to attend the meeting in Indonesia. Maybe now, Gift, you want to add something else?
Okay, it has been a very interesting experience for me. There was so much more I never thought I could do. It improved my communication skills. It improved my social networking. I could relate more with people because I'm actually a very shy person. But IFSA has actually helped me to be able to relate well with people. And I know there's so much, so much. I am so grateful. And I also want to say thank you. Thank you, Yasmin, for your help. You've been very helpful. And then I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
And thanks to you, Gift. So now I have another question for all of you in general. If you have any tips or suggestion for people who's interested to apply for an official position, but they are not so sure about it. So who wants to answer first? I was thinking so hard. Maybe Annie or Gift.
Okay. Personal experience. When I saw the open call, I was not sure, but I got encouraged. I was pushed actually, and I put in my best and I got the position. And I'm so very grateful I actually did it because you find out that you're doing something very, very useful for the world, not just your society or your community. You're doing something very useful for the world and for others. So this is like one of the first step I've taken in being useful in forestry, and I'm very proud of it. So whatever it is, just push yourself and do it. You'll find out that there's so much more you can do for IFSA and for the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Gift. You are completely right on this. So I don't know if any of you want to add something else. Yeah, Kai, Lau. Sorry.
Yeah, we miss Kyle. Okay, so I'll give a very short story time first before I answer the question. So before I became the head of language subcommission, I applied for two other positions. So I first applied for the Asia Pacific regional representative, but I did not got the highest vote. And then I also applied for head of CDC. So Jasmine and I were competing for the position. And Jasmine did a great job. And I know why people voted for her, of course. And gladly, I got a position to become the head of language subcommission. So maybe for the tips when you're creating the motivation letter, just be yourself. Just show how you can be or how you will be working when you're given this position, since it it is a great way to express yourself and your interest to become a part of something that is shared globally, since IFSA is a worldwide organization. So just be yourself, since um, by being yourself, you can inspire a lot of people to follow your steps. So as you can see, there are a lot of Filipinos who is active in IFSA, and that's because one way we approach becoming part of IFSA is just being ourselves. And um, one of the trademarks of Filipinos here in IFSA is that they're very fun and jolly, to sugarcoat it, something like that. So that's it. Just be yourself.
Thank you so much, Lau. I think that's a really great tip and noisy, maybe. Well, thank you so much for your answers. I just want to say I'm really grateful for being working with you this term. You're really amazing people. You have a lot of talent, and it has been my pleasure to work with you. So if you want to be part of the CDC team for the next term, I totally recommend it. You have to work with really great people and learn about a lot and contribute a lot to IFSA. And I think one of my personal motivation to apply for the CDC position was because I think this commission offers something else that you cannot get for another part or another organization. And that's why I really love this commission, and I really appreciate all your support. So if you want to be part of this amazing commission, please apply for the next term. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Jess. Do we have any more questions before we conclude? Yeah. Yes, Mukhtar.
Okay, yeah. So thank you for the presentation. So my question is to Philip. You mentioned something about using Google Sheets and Excel. So I just want just a brief explanation of the technical part for the end of the carbon commission.
Thank you. So Philip.
The audio wasn't that clear, so I didn't understand really the question. It was about Google Sheets.
Yes, do you need to know a lot of technical things about it, or?
So the main thing, the main thing,
yeah.
That was the question.
Yeah, that was the question.
Yeah, so the main thing I used Google Sheets for was to to calculate the data. So I mainly summed up some data, and I made some graphics with Google Sheets. So it wasn't that complicated. It's just basic knowledge you need to know.
Okay, thank you. Then,
No problem.
sorry, is it compulsory to attend IFSS if you're applying for an official position?
No, it's not compulsory. You can send in your application online as well. And as I mentioned previously, during IFSS, only the IFSA board and the heads of commissions are being elected during the General Assembly. Afterwards, the elected board is appointing the rest of the officials. So you can, of course, apply online and get the opportunity even though you're not there in person.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, one last question. Is there a maximum number of applications I can put in for different positions?
Sorry, I didn't catch that one.
I said, is there a maximum number of applications I can send in for different positions?
Okay, in one go, you can apply for 2 different positions maximum. But in case you're not elected and if there's a still open position, you can try your chance again to run for a position. Do you have any other questions? I guess not. Do we have any more questions from the rest of the audience? I guess not. So thank you so much to CDC for this amazing presentation. I think it will be very helpful to our members to understand more in depth about your positions and hopefully motivate them to apply. And you can find the other recordings from the other episodes of the IFSA Officials Roundtable Series in this link that I have sent, and you can also find more information of how to become an official in IFSA. So be sure to check it out. And lastly, I will share my screen once more. So if you could go back to Slido, you can send us your feedback, and I can also share the code once more. And here we can see your feedback to improve these episodes. So it's very important for us, but you can also send it afterwards in this when this session ends. So if you have a quick feedback, we can have a look, or yes, to participants that's typing. Yes, so first comment is well done on the presentations. Thank you, CDC, for your presentation. Yes, it was very interesting to listen all the presentations, and I think there were very important information shared. This session was great. Thank you all for the presentations and contributions. Yes, thank you once more to everyone. Okay, I guess that's all for now, but you can keep on adding your comments if you have further suggestions. And now if everyone could open their cameras, let's make a group picture. I will start the recording in the meantime.